Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sim Experience SA 2024 Mazda MX5 Cup, sponsored by the Safe Boys. Coming up, we have round 6 from the ZANDVOORT Grand Prix circuit. This is the full ZANDVOORT circuit, not the national circuit that we raced at round 1. This, of course, will be a qualifying session of 15 minutes and then 2 20-minute races. The second race is a top 10 results from race 1 gets reversed, so whoever finishes in 10th in race 1 will start in pole position for race 2. So of course this is round 6, which is the ZANDVOORT Grand Prix circuit. We'll then be going to the Sepang North circuit, and then the Portimao Grand Prix circuit, then it's Brands Hatch Indy, and finally the Hockenheim National Circuit. Our points system: for first place you get 350 points all the way down to 30th. 30th and below will get 10th points. So if you have someone in 31st, they will also get 10th points. And our standings coming into this: Jason Unwood has gained a little bit of an advantage now over Gerrit Bierkes. Jonathan Benz, who sadly isn't here tonight, he's away on leave, so hopefully he gets to watch the stream and enjoy the stream. Yonder Dippenaar in 4th place, Sean Olivier in 5th, Timo Smith in 6th, Emily Benz in 7th, also away tonight as they're on leave. Marvin Brandt in 8th, Andre Hildebrandt in 9th, in 10th place, Rian van der Westhuizen. Dinesh Singh 11th, Matty Rienen in 12th, 13th place, Stan Zaidnet, Monet Deploy in 14th, Johan Bierkes 15th, Julian Brains 16th, Harvey Koos 17th, 18th, Rudy van der Westhuizen 19th, Monet de Toy 20th, Malt van Aarde, Caroline Just 21st, Jean-Ray de Toy. I'm not sure when Jean-Ray will join, hopefully he'll join us again, but in 22nd, Andy Darnell 23rd, Hilke Veronica in 24th, Gabriel Tabax in 25th, Ariane Balde, who's joining us again tonight, in 26th, Rainer Berger 27th, Ricardo Costa in 28th, Sean Johnson 29th, and Donnie Stander makes up 30th. I believe the drivers are also now in qualifying, so I think we can jump to qualifying in a moment. Let me just get that up in a few seconds while I get everything in order here. Right, we can now go live to qualifying. So this, of course, is the official qualifying for the Safe Boys MX5 Cup round 6. Coming to you live from the ZANDVOORT Grand Prix circuit. This is a 15-minute qualifying session. I am your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, and I'm joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Dennis. Good evening, everybody. Yes, I've had the privilege of actually commentating live at the historic Grand Prix at ZANDVOORT, so I know the circuit fairly well. They've changed it a little bit for Formula One, but in essence, it's kept the shape that I was there for 2 years in a row, and now to be commentating in sim racing, slightly different, but essentially the same ball game.
I guess you just don't get to hear and smell the cars, otherwise it's much the same. In fact, you, like you've told me before, you actually get a bit more information in the sim racing with all the information that we can feed you.
Yes, they're actually very well kitted in the commentary tower at ZANDVOORT, which is on the left as we're looking at the picture now. You don't actually from the commentary tower see much, because that tall part of the building used to have a commentary tower on the top of it, but the rust, because it's right at the seaside, ZANDVOORT being a holiday destination on the western coast. Well, there is only the western coast. If you go more west, then you get to the UK. But the rust was such that it was condemned and they removed it. But apparently the view out of that top commentary tower was really, really good. But the coverage by television camera, that if you do live commentating, and also the lap scoring monitor with the splits in the different sectors and who's doing what and the colors, who's doing what in the sectors, like you get here on a simulator as well, is very good, which makes commentary, I wouldn't say easy, but it's certainly nice to be looking out for cars that you've identified on the lap scoring monitor when they pass through in front of you on the main straight.
Yeah. Well, ZANDVOORT is a fantastic circuit. In real life, there are all kinds of racing that they have there as well, different formulas and all kinds of historic races as well.
If you want to treat yourself, I think the historic, and you've got a bit of spare cash and you want to go see something that's not going to cost you an arm and a leg in Europe, then the historic Grand Prix at ZANDVOORT, I think this year, I'll just have to make double sure, but they brought it forward. It was normally sort of August-ish, thereabouts, once they get out of their summer. But I think this year they've got it in June, but certainly it's 3 days effectively. Friday is the practice and qualifying, Saturday is racing the whole day, and Sunday is racing the whole day. They have a similar format to what you do in sim racing here, where the race length is X number of minutes. They don't go like most of the South African tracks, say the race is 8 or 10 or 12 laps. These guys go by the number of minutes, and if there's a safety car, the minutes under the safety car counts as well as part of the race. If it doesn't get to restart, then that's the finishing order of the race. So it's to everybody's advantage to actually stay on the track and avoid collisions. But a very interesting track. What also makes it unique compared to other tracks is the number of corners that are actually banked, and we'll get through them as we get to them. But I was just thinking quickly, turn 1, which is Tarzan corner, that's banked. Then turn 3, which is Hogenholzbocht, that's banked. And then the last corner, Ari Leyendijk, that comes into the main straight, that's got quite a long continuous bank to it.
Which we see on screen now. This is Ari Leyendijk.
Yeah, there the banking should start you're actually off the banking now already, and then you go extreme left, sort of to slingshot outside. And then the other thing that's really nice about it, I think for race drivers as well, and in the MX5 Cup, particularly with slipstreaming, it's got a nice long straight into, this is Tarzan corner, turn 1, into a banked corner again. And it goes through a left-right, which you'll see coming up now. That left portion is banked slightly, and then it goes right, flattens again, and then when you get to Hogenholz corner, this one, it's banked once again. So in a banked corner, there's more than one racing line depending your driving style, which again opens the door for anybody that has a different racing line to potentially pass you. So a lot of things to keep in mind about whether you take the high road or the low road. And I think a very interesting circuit indeed. The drivers aren't over fond of anything from Skyflak, which is after the point where we used to turn off at the first round we did here. They call it the Mickey Mouse section. But certainly once you get through, it's no longer Kumo corner, but it's the second to last corner. But when you've got to get a good exit out of that, to get a good entry and exit out of Ari Leyendijk, to get good speed in the main straight, so that you can actually, if you're chasing somebody, that's the point where you're going to potentially make a pass, is if you can get up the inside, because remember, getting out of Ari Leyendijk, you'd be on the left hand of the circuit. So if somebody's chasing you, can use the slipstream and get up your right hand side, then that's actually a block pass. You can't turn in on him on turn 1, which is a right-hander, so then the pass could be made potentially. Interesting circuit, lots of corners, a lot to think about, not only where you are at the moment, but where you're going to be to actually get the car positioned for maybe a corner or two ahead. But certainly a great circuit.
And while we're watching Javi do a lap, this is a personal best coming up, so he's in 14th place at the moment. Let's see where he jumps to now. Comes across the line. He actually doesn't. He lost a bit of time in the final sector. That's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, as I said, that exit out of the second to last corner, it used to be Kumo corner, which is a tire manufacturer, if I remember correctly, so I'll stick to that name, even though it might be incorrect. You've got to get a good exit out of Kumo, which is effectively just over a 90-degree right. And then Ari Leyendijk is a long, continuous, sweeping right-hander banked, so you can be on the throttle a little bit heavier because of the banking. And if you get a good exit out of there, then the main straight looms at you. And oopsie, that's not the way to go, Mornay.
Yeah, got that all wrong.
Yeah, the road goes in a different direction.
Right, so currently our pole position is sitting with Jason Underwood, and he's just about to go a bit faster. It looks like he's about a 10th up at the moment. He lost a little bit of time in the middle sector, but still about a 10th up. Currently, Jason Underwood from Yandre Duppenard, Timo Smit, Sean Olivier, Fred Bierkes. That is our top 5 currently.
I just want to tell you how good the sim is. When you're going through Ari Leyendijk, when we get there again, look up and over the hill that you see behind you now. What looks like a block of flats that are brown, very light brown in color. That's actually a hotel just outside the gate. And it exists in real life. So the simulator is very good. There it is. That brown building that you just saw for an instance there, that's actually a hotel that is on historic Grand Prix weekend is chock-a-block full, and the whole of Zandvoort is actually booked out. You'd be well advised to look for a place in Amsterdam and then travel by train. There's one you just have to swap over a train in between, because they run a single train from Zandvoort to, and I forget the station. There's only a train between Zandvoort and that station, and I think it's to remove the congestion on the other lines. You can't, for instance, get from Utrecht direct to Zandvoort. You have to go to Amsterdam, switch trains, and then from Amsterdam, one train, and then at that spot, and I'll think of it in a minute, take the last train. But the walk is probably about 500 meters from the train station to the gate, and a lot of people walk in the Netherlands. That corner caught him out a little bit on Beerkus. Then he comes to, looks like he's gone to pits.
So I gather you didn't stay in that hotel then, Sean?
No, well, you don't want to know where I stayed. I stayed halfway to Germany, so it was a schlep by car every morning to get there and a schlep by car every evening home. But I didn't complain because I had accommodation for free with one of the co-commentators at Zandvoort. We stayed in I'll call it a town called Amersfoort, and we have a town called Amersfoort in South Africa. So if you were wondering where it got the name from, that's where it got the name from. So we would travel, luckily there's a highway, but on a good day, I think it was about just under an hour's travel. But if the traffic, the worst is the traffic getting out of Zandvoort itself, because it's one lane one way, one lane the other way, and it's stop go until eventually you get out of Zandvoort. There's a golf circuit, a golf club. I think they play the Zandvoort is part of the PGA Tour in Europe, and they of course add to the traffic volumes. So yes, exiting Zandvoort, the town itself, once you're outside of Zandvoort, then it goes fairly quickly. But an interesting, I know that highway quite well already, and all the factories alongside it, and the people that I commentated with, they're well spoken, well educated, and they told me all sorts of interesting things about a lot of the factories that are along there and the companies that typically run them. There's that hotel building I was telling you about to the left there. So every time was an adventure, actually, even though it was a bit of a schlep. We used to normally wait until you're on the highway and then find a McDonald's or something and stop for a bite to eat just to take a break. We typically get home at about 10 o'clock at night.
Oh. It's an update on our standings. Provisional poll still sitting with Jason Underwood. Jandre Duppenaar is right there, just shy of a tenth and a half off. Timo Smith 3/10 back. Matty Rienen 5/10 back. Sean Olivier, Gerrit Beerkus, Malt van Aarde, good lap by Malt in 7th place. Monet de Ploy, Rian van der Westhuizen, Dinesh Singh makes up the top 10. Then it's Andre Hillebrand, Monet de Toy, Johan Beerkus, Julian Brains, Stan Bezuidenhout, Harvey Goos, and Caroline Joost. With 2.5 minutes to go, drivers have probably enough time just to do one flying lap, possibly two if they're halfway around the lap. Some of the drivers are currently sitting in the pits. So Malt van Aarde, Rian van der Westhuizen, Dinesh Singh, Andre Hillebrand, and Stan Bezuidenhout are in the pits at the moment, so they do not have enough time to head out and do a flying lap.
Yeah. As you can see, I'll have a look when we get through the main straight again. When you take the turn to the right for Formula One, they've tarred the section going up the dune at Tarzan Corner. So I think that's definitely good for Formula One, so that the guy at least has a chance of recovering and getting back to the track. But I'm not sure whether they've done so in the sim. If we can go in car with Mornay, then potentially we can look up the dune as he's looking at it now. There it goes. In the sim, in this version of the sim, they haven't got the tar. So they're straight into the sand. If you,
and that's
sorry, Mornay. The mockers on him as he gets Tarzan Corner wrong.
Yeah, I think this is a slightly older layout of the track. It's the 2019 version. I think the track was modified in 2022.
Yes, and where I noticed that as well is I've been talking about the banking at turn 3 effectively, which is called Hoegenholz, and the banking in this sim isn't as much as what they've done it now for Formula One. So yes, it's 1 year or so prior to the change that happened on the circuit, but very different. Well, not very different, but I think it changes. So is that the qualifying results up there?
It is indeed, yes.
So I'm just going to wait for it up here, and then I'm actually just, it's Jason, Yandre, and Timo.
I'm going to get
I'm
ready to
gonna-
go to an ad break as well before it catches me off guard as you're waiting for it to skip. You can jump to an ad break. We'll be back in probably about 5 minutes for race one. Stay tuned. Remember to hit the like and subscribe button and stick around for race one. See you then. right, welcome back everybody. This of course is the Sim Experience SA 2024 Mazda MX5 Cup, sponsored by the Safe Boys. If you have any safe requirements, you can head over to www.safeboys.com, give Johan a shout. This of course is race 1, round 6, coming to you live from the ZANDVOORT Grand Prix circuit. Race 1 is a 20-minute race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, and I'm joined once again by Sean Woodgate. Good evening, Sean.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. The great circuit like Zandvoort in the Netherlands.
Of course, Sean, you know the track so well. What are the drivers likely to be up to into turn 1?
Well, turn 1 in the start, luckily it's quite a wide circuit. You could probably get 3 abreast into turn 1. And then they've got 2 corners which aren't too bad to sort each other out. But then Hoegenholz, the hairpin to the left, you've got to be sort of 2 abreast as they go. You've got to be at least no more than 2 abreast getting to Hoegenholz. Otherwise, it's plan for chaos. So Jason gets a good start.
Yep, they're away. Into turn 1, Jason gets the whole shot. Timo up the inside as well. Yandre on the outside there. Timo fighting him for turn 2. I'm sorry, for position 2.
Yeah, it turns this way, which is to Yandre's favor, but then goes the other way, which is Timo's favor. He uses the curving, but then it's going to be a big left-hander, which will be in Yandre's favor again. This is the one that I said they've changed the layout now, but they left it, and look at that block pass that Yandre did just to make sure that Timo has no thoughts of coming past him. And Sean Wolfie right there in 4th position, and Matty Renault, I think it is, that's in 5th, and Gerrit Beekers in 6th position. No, it's not Gerrit. That's the black and yellow, sorry, the black car with yellow. Gerrit drives the yellow car with black.
Yeah, that's Matty in the black one, definitely Matty.
Yes.
On the outside of Sean. Gerrit getting to watch the whole reaction in front of him.
He's actually drifting, thinking that these guys will cut on the inside for the corner. There he decides to cut in behind them as well. But now that we've got both of the yellow cars, to add confusion, it's a, what do you call it? No, it'll be a swarm of bumblebees, except the one is less bumblebee-ish than the other, if there ever is such a word. So, but they get to see, there's Dean Ash's. Now that we've recognized Dean Ash's car about 2 races ago, we can't forget it. Julian also in that army looking green car. So as time goes by, we get to recognize the cars more and more. But Jason, not much of a lead, 0.2 of a second on Yandre, and Timo not much further behind, 0.4. Looks like Sean Olivier is a second or so behind Timo. So that gap is opening up a little bit. And here they come into the straight to complete lap number 1. And Jason makes sure that nobody's going to get his slipstream, and he pulls right out of the racing line. Well, he's actually off the racing line and then goes to take it again. But that just ensures that nobody takes the slipstream on him coming down. Oh, Stan's already gone off track too much for the liking of the server and has a slowdown penalty. But as we see, Jason just clearly, and that in 3rd position, it looks as though Timo has a nice view of the cars ahead of him. And also what you can do when you're looking like this, for Timo, you can see what the guys ahead of you are doing, where their strong points are, where they may be losing the back end of the car, and you can then make a decision based on that. It's only 20 minutes, and I think the laps here, Dennis, what were they, about 1 minute 30, thereabouts?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
So it's not going to be many laps to get through 20 minutes. It's quite a long circuit. So certainly, let's see, it's 4.26 virtually kilometers. So a nice long circuit. And turn 10, which I had, which didn't have a name, is now CM.com, which I think has arrived with the Formula 1 sponsorship. But in the days that this, shall I say, the banking was less, and this layout was taken, turn 10 didn't have a name and was simply called turn 10, and the same for turn 9. And turn, which I call Kumo, has no name, turn 13, that's just before Ari Leindijk. So here you see that's Hoegenholz's corner, that's just behind the commentary position where I spent many hours, and certainly it wasn't any trouble or effort to me. I'm just waiting to see when they get through, then I can point out where we went to the right before you got to Rob Slotemaker's corner, and that's when we shortened the circuit for the first round that was held at Zandvoort.
See, a lot of guys getting track limits. I wonder if that's just on the exits, it's going a little bit too much. There's a lot of curbing here that you can lean on. Maybe we just lean on it a little bit too much and you just get your wheels over the white line and it penalizes you. It seems quite harsh in some areas.
Yeah, that's Sean, and he's in 5th position, so he's got to... What's happened to Matty? Matty's falling down the leaderboard at a rate of knots, so, and he's going down, and more down. There he is. So is that Tarzan corner that he lost it in?
I think so, yes.
It looks as though that was Tarzan. So if you miss it in Tarzan in this layout, you're up into the gravel. So, well, it's not gravel, it's a dune. So getting back onto the track, you've got you've got sand all over your tires, which means your tires probably don't have much grip. So you've got to get going gingerly because you've got a couple of sharp corners ahead of you before you have time between Hoegenholz and Schijfvlak before you can get rid of those sand bits on the tire to ensure that you've got good grip again. Andre is close to Jason. Jason leads by 0.8 of a second only. So certainly, and Timo is only 0.2 of a second behind Andre. So these are the top 3. As you see out in the distance, there is Jason and Andre, and then Timo. Timo having the best view in the house of the top 3, him being 3rd. So certainly interesting racing. And I think with Andre Defensi there again, he took all of that curb and a bit. So, only my opinion, and I'm not being harsh on anybody, I wouldn't be surprised if he were to get a slowdown penalty for that, because there was quite a lot of curbing used there. Yeah, they're on the curbing, but the right-hand side of the wheels are slid to the right of the white line, so I think that's perfectly normal. What was that for? Sean Willifield still? He popped up and then disappeared. Yeah, popped up and then disappeared. So the server is strict, and to the supporters that are out there, they can tell they race, the guys that are racing or that they are cheering on, that you really got to stick to the black stuff. But the battle is on between Timo and Andre, and I think that means that Jason can get away. It's now 1.3 seconds. You can see the gap, and then there's a massive gap between Timo and Sean Ulifi further back. Gerrit, unnoticed by us, has gone from 6th to 5th. So the Flying Bumblebee has made up a bit of place. So he's gotten going quite well, but he's a long way behind the leaders. So Gerrit, of course, has a bit of ballast that he's carrying along, which doesn't make these cars, I wouldn't say they're underpowered, but for the power that you have available, when you got the few hills that it does have, when you have to go uphill, then the kilowatts are lacking, and then you have additional weight to carry around as a penalty, then it's not the best thing. Not sure quite whether it helps or makes the car worse to drive in the corners, but certainly at this stage, Jason Underwood, he's keeping clear of everything. He's keeping clear of exceeding track limits. He's getting, well, it looks as though Timo either made a mistake or something happened that he's not as close to Andre as he was before. So certainly there's D Nash, he's holding on. It's Mornay Deploy and Julian Brains. Julian is in the car with the green and the white star on it. D Nash is in front of them with a double green stripe. There's Julian Brains up on the inside, and we'll see if he can take that position. It turns to be his side favorably, but he's too far back, and I think he actually got on the brakes there to avoid a collision, which was more than, and he's off the track limits again. Don't be surprised if they pop up there. And Matty, we saw falling down the leaderboard earlier, and he gets another slowdown penalty for track limits abuse. Here comes Andre Hildebrand. He's certainly having a good race. Where is Andre already? He's up to 10th now.
Good
so
race.
He got past,
that's where you want to be for race 2.
Yeah. So Matty got the slowdown, as I thought he probably would. And Andre and Mornay are having a great battle for 10th and 11th. So if you speak to any racing driver, if you're not in contention for the lead, but at least you're racing for minor placings, and yes, an important place, because if you're 11th, you'll start race 2 in 11th. But if you're 10th, you'll start race 2 in pole. So definitely 10th position is something worth having in the format that this series has been set. There they go up the hill.
On board with the standards.
Yeah, that's what's called Hunzerach. Then it drops down, and just as it drops down, just beyond that, there's the point that they turned off for the first race. and then that went straight into after turn 10. So you miss out all of Skyflock Masters, which is CM.com corner now, turn 9, no, Masters is still Masters, then it's turn 9, turn 10 is CM.com, and then you'll see the point joining again. So there are a few, there is definitely that place where they can use, shorten the circuit. That's not the way to go, because that's going to unsettle the car. Manage to get it going in the right direction again. Jason Underwood, 1.6, 1.7 seconds. Keeps one set of the tires to the trackside side of the white line. And the clock says that we are almost halfway with this race. So Jason has a nice 1.5 second and a little bit. Here he comes into the main straight now. And also noticeably, the Ari Lyondijk corner isn't in this sim as banked as what if you were to go and redo the track now in sim. It's a lot more banked. So this you can still see Tarzan corner. Turn 1 is still banked. So now looking to the right here, that actually this is quite old, because that building to the right still has the old commentary tower on the roof. That was already removed in 2015 when I got there the first time. So this is quite an old version of the track. The layout is much the same, but just where they did what to the layout that changed and made quite a difference, I think, specifically to the competitors on the track, that if you have or you don't. Now, I know in different sims that we've raced at Zandvoort before, the banking is there, so this might just be an older version of the track that they have in this sim.
Oh, he got a good run there. He didn't quite know where to go.
Yeah, and the thing is there, you've got to make up your mind depending where the other guy defends, and it's clever defense knowing that the next corner goes to the right. So hold the right hand side, and effectively that means that guy's got to go around your outside. It goes to the right again, so but he's sliding it all over the show. So yeah, if you can get up on the inside, it is a nice place, because it's right and right again. So that could potentially be a nice place to pass. Then it's left, that's Hans Arends they've come out of now. They then get to the no-name corner, which used to be Kumo, and that will then line them up into Ari Lyondijk and for the main straight.
I see the comment about the track being almost as old as the sim. Yeah, the sim isn't exactly the youngest of sims, but it's not the oldest. I think the oldest, most popular sim is iRacing. That's actually one of the oldest. That's based off an old NASCAR game, so that is really, really old, and actually it doesn't look too bad these days. So this is just due an update, which I think it is going to get fairly soon. It will have a graphical update. It's running a very old engine, so I'm not sure if they will then update some of the tracks. It would be nice to have the latest layout of Zandvoort, and I know some of the tracks are quite new. Oh, here comes Andre. Yeah, this is
and this is where I was about to say, but I wasn't going to butt in on you, Dennis. In that slipstream, Julian Brains is into the pits. In that slipstream, I've just got to find who it was. He got 2 positions, but I think Julian was going into the pits anyway. Oh, that too much of the curbing. That might be abuse of track limits. Was that Mornay? But certainly the whole car was on the grass, and you don't want to be on the grass because, first of all, you might be penalized, and secondly, there's no grip on the grass. So, especially at Zandvoort, the weather is very fickle. You can have bright sunshine like they have here. I arrived on the Thursday, the first time I got there, it was pouring down in buckets. The corners that are banked, you could probably wade through, and if you had gumboots on, your gumboots would fill with water. That's how deep the water was. Then we had 2 days of strong wind and bright blue skies. And the guys said, well, luckily because it's in the dunes, the sand absorbs the water very quickly, and the track dried out beautifully, and the guys went racing the whole weekend with not a drop of rain. So very changeable weather being at the coast, but certainly an interesting track.
Speaking of interesting, sorry to butt in, 2 things have happened. Julian he went into the pits and he retired, so I'm not sure if it's his injury, because I know he is injured, so maybe that's just too much for him to handle now. He did change his settings and he was much happier with the change of the settings, so possibly just his injury. The other thing, Matty is recovering. Matty is currently in 11th. If he can catch up and get 1 more place, he's then in the running for race 2.
Yes, that's what we mentioned just now, that as long as he can be competitive and get that 10th place back, it's very important for him for the start of race 2, because of the grid that changes around. For those that aren't aware of what happens in race 2 here, is that they swapped the grid where in the finishing sequence of race 1, 10th starts in pole, and then everything backwards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 goes the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. So there's Dinesh. Dinesh is 8th. Behind him is Mornay. Behind him is Andre. Andre has a slowdown, which he can, if he brakes a little bit early for Tarzan, then maybe the servo will detect that. I think he went over the curbing there quite seriously. And behind Matty is still only, well, there goes Matty.
Into the top 10.
So he's got 10th. Yeah. And I think it's the slowdown that Andre did to get rid of the penalty. So I'm not sure if that thing is going to disappear. But certainly Matty's got the pedal down. I'm not sure that he's going to have enough time with 5.5 minutes to catch up to Mornay. So Mornay potentially could be second on the starting grid, but we don't put the cart before the horses. You've got to finish the race first to make sure that you start the next one. But
and the comment, sorry to butt in, the comment there about Harriet not doing too bad with the ballast. Indeed, Harriet's got quite a heavy car at the moment, and he's hanging in there.
Yeah.
The car in front of him has also got a ballast, but not nearly as heavy as his. So the two guys with ballast in 4th and 5th place doing a really good drive at the moment. For Harriet, looking pretty for race 2.
Yeah, he'll start in 6th position then for race 2, so I think that's where he started race 1 anyway. So the more things change, the more they stay the same for him. But certainly the Flying Bumblebee, there he is. And that's why I say we have to keep our wits about us. The yellow car with a bit of black versus the black car with a bit of yellow. And Matty drives the other one, if I remember correctly.
And a good drive for Melt, currently in 6th place. I think this will be his highest finish, if I'm correct. Had a very good qualifying. Yeah. I think also his highest qualifying was 17th place. Sorry, 7th place. So a good round so far for Malt after having not such a good round at the previous round. I think maybe a bit of track knowledge here because of the first round that we drove here.
If you look at the top 3 as well, Jason Underwood has gotten away, but I think, as I said then, it's because Yandre is defending from Timo. Timo is less than a second behind Yandre, and Yandre is 1.7 seconds behind Jason in the lead. So those two in 2nd and 3rd are keeping each other busy, and then a long way back to Sean Olivier, who's now 5.5 seconds back in 4th. So the battle is on for 2nd and 3rd positions, and that's the one to watch.
Here's another battle coming. So Rian is going to have a hard charging Dinesh right on him very, very shortly. He's got Monet Deploy, he's being dragged along slowly as well coming. And then of course Matty's on the charge, so Matty's closing in on Monet. So with a little bit of time that's left, it's just over 3 minutes to go. I'm not sure how much progress will be made. Rian might lose a position maybe. So we'll see how that ends, but Rian currently doing a good job in 7th place.
So the battle, the black car with the green stripes, that's Dinesh Singh. Behind him is Monet Deploy and then Mathieu Renault. So there he comes along. That's a black car with a bit of yellow. And he's certainly fighting back from that moment that he did have. But he's made enough to be pole for race 2 with a lap and a half to go. Basically, where's Jason compared to these guys? Because I think this sim actually stops when the race leader goes across the line once the time has run out. But
yeah, the qualifying, it just cuts it off. So wherever you are, just whatever lap you want just gets abandoned. But the race, if the leader
it waits for everybody.
Yeah, it waits for the leader to cross the line once the time has finished, and then everyone gets to finish after that.
And that I remember caused, I think, Jonathan to think he was going to be starting in pole one of the previous races, and he actually started in 2nd, because what happened was it was Dinesh that got ahead of somebody else and got 10th place, and that pushed Jonathan up to 9th, and that's why Jonathan started in 2nd. I remember that quite clearly. We'd announced it that Jonathan's going to be starting pole, but we were wrong when we didn't give time for the lap to complete and see where everybody came in what position. But the server is, of course, has eyes all over the show and waited until the lap was completed, and then it had Dinesh in pole and Jonathan in 2nd. But yeah, at this stage, that's a very good battle between Melt and Jan van der Westhuizen. So, and also Dinesh Singh in the black and green car. So there's 2 sets of cars that are chasing each other. Dinesh holding on for dear life ahead of Mornay. So it's Mornay Deploy in 9th position. Oh, there's getting the back end to step out a bit, but that's taking the low road through that corner, and it is actually the apex. But if you're just a little bit fast on the throttle, then the back end tends to step out with this car.
Yeah, it looked like, judging by the times, he was right up behind Harvey Coast, and maybe just something happened. Oh, we see a slowdown for Yandre. Is that... If it doesn't cost him P2, it looks like he's already done the penalty and the penalty has been cleared. If the penalty is still showing on the screen, it means they haven't yet served it. So if they get a drive, a slowdown penalty, and they serve it, then straight away the yellow disappears. If the yellow is still on the screen, then you know that they haven't yet served it.
But look what has happened to first, second, third now. It's Yandre has another one. So that could be interesting, although Timo's quite a bit far back. He can be early on the brakes here and get rid of it. I see the nose dip and he does slow down. And if he doesn't accelerate as soon as what he would be expected to out of this corner, then that could be seen or deemed to be the slowdown being served, and there it disappears. He's done exactly that as he goes through, and this is Hogenholz. Then this going up the hill, now it's a pity we break away from him. But as he went through Hogenholz, which is that hairpin behind where the main, not the grandstand, is race control is, that going up the hill is called Hunzerich, and it's got nothing to do with about the back of the dog. Oh, look at this battle now with, is it Rian, Dinesh, Mornay, and Matty.
So what a final lap for them.
Yep, so that's 9th, 10th, 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, and 7th that you see those four cars they've literally only separated by about 2 or 3 car lengths between each of them. So you make a slight mistake here and there's one, potentially 2 people to take that. Dinesh goes wide to the left, and then
Monet up the
way
inside.
the goes,
Looks like we're going to get Matty as well, sneaking past.
yeah, he just holds on to the bumper there, and is Dinesh going to be mobbed for 2 positions because he can't turn back? You've got to leave enough room, but now the track is favourable to him, and he can turn to the left again, and he holds the line. So after all the fun of the fair, it looks as though, but now Dinesh takes the high road out of that corner. For the guys that got, what do they say, the old saying, slow in is fast out.
Yeah.
We have to see that's going to be, that we're on the final lap. And Jason leads by almost 2 seconds from Yandre. So, is this for the checkered flag?
It is indeed. That is the race win for Jason. Yandre second, Timo third.
Good results for them.
Sean Olivier will take fourth. Good result for Sean as well with all the weight, and excellent result for Gerrit with an even heavier car. Malt van Aarde currently in 6th place still, so excellent result for him. Rian will bring home the car, defend the pack behind him. That was good defense there. Dinesh Singh will take the place. Matty actually managed to pick off 9th, and in 10th place we have Andre. So Andre will get pole position for race 2.
That's going to be interesting.
So what happened to Monet? Obviously there was something, and Monet ended up losing out, and now he doesn't even sit at the front of the grid for race 2. He's going to start in 11th for the next race.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll just wait for the results to pop up, then I'll go and populate that as when the car pulls to the side after crossing the finishing line.
And Stan was catching up again to Harvey, so that was almost there. Good drive for Stan.
Just doing a practice start there.
And Caroline will bring home the car to take home 15th place, which I think is the final place because we have 16th and 17th as DNFs.
Yeah, so we'll just wait for the results to appear. And I'm waiting, well, they can appear here or on the feed. Then I can populate the spreadsheet in the break between races. Then we can at least be prepared for the results fairly quickly
And
after this.
There they are.
There we go. So we'll take that.
And then we'll jump to an ad break, and we'll be back probably in about 5 minutes for race 2. So you then remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and we will start with race 2. I'll put up the driver of the day vote, so you'll have the whole of race 2 to vote. So just remember to do that, and until then, see you shortly.
See you later.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm not sure why the screen's showing the wrong thing. I think it does this every now and again. Hopefully we don't have any issues. We're just waiting for everyone to populate, which they should do any moment now. A bit confusing when it does this, but in the meantime, I'm going to just try and run with this. It's the Sim Experience SA 2024 Mazda MX5 Cup, sponsored by the Safe Boys. This, of course, is Race 2, coming to you live from the ZANDVOORT Grand Prix circuit. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate.
Always a pleasure, Dennis.
All right, and it looks like we're about to get underway. We have in pole position Andre Hildebrand, pulling away with Matty Renan in second position.
Ja, behind Matt is Dinesh Singh, then Rian van der Westhuizen, Melt van Aarde, Gerrit Bekes, Ton Olivier, Timo Smit, Jandre Dippenaar, and Jason in 10th position. So it looks as though these two are already fighting it out for, but as I said, if you well-mannered, you could probably get 3 cars abreast through Tarzan Corner, but at this stage they're going 2 by 2, and Dinesh drops a little bit back, but I think it's just a question of surviving through the first sets of corners. This is the corner that I said you've got to get through this corner and have the guys sort of in single file already, and that corner is Hoegenholz, and it looks as though they're almost done it. Dinesh is the last of the single file, and then he's got behind him, let's just find Dinesh, and they change position. Timo's up to 5th already, and then Rian, then Melt, then Mornay, Jandre Dippenaar in 9th, Stan Besaidnout in 10th, Gawie Gous in 11th. Gawie's having a great race in then Johan Bekes in 12th position, and Jason Underwood now gets, so Jason didn't have a good start because he was down in 10th and he's now managed to get his way back to 12th position, so he's still got a long battle ahead of him to try and make it back. There's Gerrit Bekes in the yellow and black Flying Bumblebee, and he makes up a position there. So let's see if he can make up more position. He's actually quite a long way back from the rest, but we've known him to be a fighter all the way down to the end. But Matty, a second already ahead of Andre, so that's going to be interesting to see. There you can see it, the black car with the yellow, that's Matty, and then the orange and what's that, silver, that's Andre Hildebrand, then Sean Olivier behind him. So first is running away from second and third because they're battling with each other, and they're giving each other just enough room, and Dinesh has got who behind him? Timo Smit. So Timo is going to try and slipstream Dinesh down the straight. Is Dinesh going to take the racing line? Timo goes one way, goes the other, and of course Dinesh will block the racing line to the right, which means Timo will have to tuck in behind him. He actually is going to drive around all the way with him. Eventually he'll probably have to tuck in behind him because that's just the way the track goes, but he's not giving up an inch. Again, he'll have to go around the outside, and then the corner will eventually come. So he's thinking 3 corners ahead to get out of Hoegenholz and make up that position. Well done, well thought out, Timo. That was literally 3 corners ahead. He said, I've just got to hold it, and eventually the track will come to me. And he got the position, and Timo's up to 4th.
And now Dinesh has got Rian right behind him, and right behind him is Monet, who's had a good start after having not qualified in pole position, having lost out in the end of race 1. Oh, he's got Yandre coming up right behind him as well. So Yandre, I believe, is going to be challenging him and actually passed him. He's up on the inside already.
Actually swapped back, and then swapped back a third time. So Yandre got past, then Mornay got past Yandre, and then Yandre got past him again. So Timo Smit has got past Andre Hildebrand for 3rd position, Sean Olivier in 2nd, and Matty in 1st position.
And Malt is now sticking his nose in there as well. And we've got Jason coming up as well from behind, so lots to play for you.
1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 cars in sort of 2 bunches that are racing together, so this is really a close race. In the meantime, the championship leader, where's Jason got to? He's up to 9th now, but he's miles behind. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's that white car behind the blue one, next to the white car with the red stripe down the middle. As you look further back, there comes Jason now. I think that's his car behind the blue one. So he's going to try and make up. Who's it down? Jandre Dippenaar has a slowdown penalty, and Jandre is up in 6th, and he was only 0.1 of a second behind Dinesh, which will give Dinesh some breathing space when he serves that. So I think he's actually served it already because it's Gerrit also, Gerrit Beekers gets slowed down and he's fighting his way to get through the pack, and he's only in 12th position, so that's not a nice thing to see when you're trying your best and you really are battling. But certainly at this stage, Andre Hildebrand had a good start, but finds himself in 6th position. Melt van Aarde was off well as well, and in 7th. So Melt makes up a position. Oh no, it's Andre Hildebrand that makes up a position on Melt, and that's up to 6th. And Rian van der Westhuizen gets past Melt van Aarde as well, up to 7th. So they're chopping and changing, and that pack doesn't seem to be decreasing. They're still running about 4 together as they go over the hill now at Hunzerich, and they then make their way to Schijfvlak. Never bothered to find out where the name actually came from. But yes, that's Schijfvlak, and then Masters Corner, and that's to the right. So the twisty bits are coming up now, and those guys that are driving with heavy cars. I saw Gerrit's car in the background there, and it looks as though, oh, there's a spin.
Sorry, Stan.
Stan.
I saw Stan was close to someone as I clicked on him, he spun.
Yeah, so Jason is up into 8th position, so he's fighting back nicely and without any warnings or yellows against him. So we did say previously that this is the point where you need to actually get actually no, they're on the twisty bits on the inside. That's Hans Ernst corner. That'll lead them up to what previously known as Kuma, now with no name. That's a right-hander. If you can get good speed out of here and you're close enough, then you get into Arie Luyendyk, right on the bumper of the guy in front of you. Then you have all of the main straight in which to do the slipstream, which we know the Mazda MX5s enjoy a good slipstream. So maybe he can make up a position. Can Jason? Let's have a look. He's 7th at the moment. He's hugging the inside line and staying on the inside line. We'll have to wait and see whether Andre is going to go back to the racing line, which Jason does, and he'll drive around his outside. So I think he had good momentum through the corner and used that very well. Yeah, he's going to be up on the inside of the car that's ahead of him. That's not D-Nash. D-Nash is a long way ahead, but he certainly consolidates that position, that overtake that he did. And Jason is now up into 6th position. D-Nash holding on for dear life in that black car with the two green stripes down the bonnet, and he's in a solid 5th position. Jan Rey is up into 4th, Timo holds on to 3rd, Sean Olivier in 2nd, and Matty runs in 1st position. Matty is away by 1.6 seconds. Then there's a big gap to Timo of 2.4 seconds, but Timo has Jan Rey right on his tail, only 0.7 of a second. That's the battle for 3rd and 4th. So with 13 minutes still to go, anything can happen and probably will still happen in this race.
And this battle is quite amazing here for 9th and 10th place between Matty Malt and Monet. They're really fighting hard at it here.
Yeah, and I think mistake there by Malt by drifting out wide, but then the corner will come back to him again. So certainly, and they've got very similar coloured cars. So
look who's in the background as well. Look who's coming.
Yes.
We've got Gerrit on his way.
Yeah, Gerrit still has 12.5 minutes to make up position. Let's see what gaps he's got. He's got 1.1 seconds to Mornay, who's only 0.3 of a second behind Melt, who's only 0.8 of a second behind Rian, again 0.8 of a second to Andre. Then it's a full 1.1 second that Andre is behind Jason, and Jason's getting away. So that's probably where, realistically speaking, one can expect Gerrit to get to, is about 7th place. If he does better than that, it's going to be a very, very good drive. But we wait and see. There he comes now out of the last corner. So you can see he's got a big gap that he's got to catch up. 1.7 seconds to catch up to Mornay. And that's going to take some doing. But he's got all these cars that are punching a hole in the air. I'm not quite sure if that hole is still there by the time he arrives behind them. But he'll be trying his best to catch up to them. I think the positions that he lost on the start, and I'm not sure why the positions were lost, there were just so many cars that we were looking at on the start itself, but running in isolation like that as Gerrit is, he doesn't have anybody that's clearing the air, but he's coming along. Where's D-Nash gone? He was 5th, and D-Nash has fallen down. He's actually falling off the leaderboard by hands and fistfuls, so he's made a mistake somewhere.
And he's now on the straight as well. Ooh, he's just been passed by Johan. Maybe he's just not up to speed yet.
yeah, Dinesh is going, so he must have had a spin because he was in 5th position and he's dropped down and running again, but in 12th. So he's lost 7 positions, which is really not great. But the guys behind him aren't going to be complaining too much because that now means that Gerrit Beekes is less than 2 seconds behind Morne de Plooi, and then the gaps are small. They're fractions of a second until he gets to Andre Hildebrandt, who is 1.6 seconds behind Jason. Jason running a solid 5th position, and I think everybody has realized, well, specifically the guys that are at the top of the championship, have realized that you mustn't do anything stupid in this race formula. That's off the track, so that might be a penalty to Mel. Don't be surprised if he gets one.
Unfortunately, ends up in the barrier.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. We were in car with him, but it would have been interesting because there was a 90-degree left corner there, and I think the back end just stepped out on him. So Melt van Aarde is he going again? We'll have to wait and see. Dinesh is certainly going again. He's running in 11th. Gerrit is in 9th now. Morne de Plooi, but out in the front, still 1.5 seconds in the lead is Matty from Sean Olivier and Timo Smit. They have quite big gaps between them. Here goes Dinesh.
Look at that bonnet. The bonnet is a bit buckled.
Yes, I think he actually got out of the slipstream a little bit early, but he's on the brakes because he's on the, well, it's not the racing line, but he's on the inside of the corner, which prevents the competitor behind him from, that's Johan, from actually taking the corner that he would like to take, and he has to just concede the corner, which is exactly what happened. So Dinesh, with buckled bonnet and all, is up into 10th position with 9.25 minutes to go.
And Yandre is starting to challenge as well for 3rd place, so Timo's got his hands full. We've got Sean Olivier starting to challenge Matty at the front as well, which is good because Sean's running extra ballast on his car, so that's a good drive by Sean at the moment.
Yeah, I think some of the guys are breaking into corners fractionally earlier, potentially because of ballast that they are carrying, which might be catching some of the other guys that do not have ballast. They don't expect it because it might be braking a little bit early into the corner. At that point, I think Yandre had to actually get off the throttle and onto the brake to avoid running into the car ahead of him.
Yeah, Yandre looks like he's just carrying a bit more speed at the moment. This phase of the race, he's quicker than Timo. I don't know if Timo has any issues. Maybe he's flat spotted his tires or something. Just looks like he's going a bit defensive as well, which also slows you down a bit. He's turning in the back instead of, he's fighting a bit of oversteer on the entrance of the corner, and then he's having to fight it on the outside and seems to be losing a bit of speed because of that.
Right, here's still the flat Ari Leyendijk into the main straight, and is Yandre going to make this work for him now? He goes. You see the car in front of him, you see less and less of it until you see only the bottom of the brake lights, and he actually is going to get past him and take the inside of the corner. So Timo Smit is, well, let's see, they've swapped and swapped back again. No, Timo Smit is in 5th, Yandre is chasing. So I think he'd been overtaken before and I'd missed that. So on the brakes again, this is for Hugenholz, and this is the one that just has a slight curve to it, then goes up the hill, down the other side, and then a curve to the left. So nothing much serious. That's where they turned away when we had our first race at Zandvoort this year. There's the corner to the left, and then it's into Scheifvlak. These guys have radio stations and all things that you can tune into, that they give you comments and who's off and whatever. So not only the Marshall's radios that you have up in the tower as well to hear things, but that I needed the Dutch people because they go into dialect and then I'm lost. If you speak pure Dutch, I can understand you, but if you go into dialect, then I'm lost for words. And they do, believe you me. Same as the Germans. But yes, interesting race that it is here.
Yeah, quite a close battle. This is the closest battle at the moment, and what a battle it is. Yandre fighting really hard here. This would, I think, be a net 3rd overall at the moment. If he gets past, it will be a net 2nd overall. So, all to play for you.
Yeah, the points are very, well, not only are the points close in this race, even though you get buckets full of points, if you miss a race meeting, then you miss a bucket full of points. It's as simple as that. But also the points you get for, it's only 1st, 2nd and 3rd position that gets points for qualifying. So if you do qualify 1st, 2nd or 3rd, they don't differ by much, but you get 35, 32 and 30. but everybody else gets no points for qualifying. So those points prove to be invaluable as the race meet or as the championship progresses.
Alright, you're trying it again around the outside. He'll then do the cutback. He needs to place his car up the inside. And then keep it there all the way around this complex, and then hit the banking. Then you can at least get a bit more of a drive, but not able to do that. Timo's putting his car in just the right place.
Now, Timo running a little bit of middle of the road, but I think he just didn't have the exit speed there and elected to go middle of the road, which is more than likely defensive, otherwise known as making the car very wide. But legally so, yeah, he will go to his right and on the inside of the curve, yeah, he'll go left. He's actually taking the racing line and then going, just clipping the apex there. As you see with the wheels on the white line, he'll clip the apex to the left of him again. So at the moment, I think he's just far enough ahead to have the luxury of taking the racing line that he prefers without having to worry too much about the competition behind him.
And apologies, earlier we mentioned the race lap times being roughly 1 minute 36. It's actually 1 minute 56. So we were 20 seconds off.
Yeah, at that time, yeah, it's almost 2 minutes then, which just goes to show in a 20 lap race, you're probably going to get 10, maybe 11 laps. Because it'll wait for the race leader to cross. Yeah, I'm going to get my tongue and my brain in the same gear. To cross the finish line. And that might be lap 11.
A good battle here between Rian van der Westhuizen and Mornay Deploy.
Now they're fighting it out as well. And Rian in 7th, Mornay in 8th. We only have 13 cars running. There was a change. Melt got past. And I think it was ahead of... Who's running in 12th position?
I actually think there's some weird gremlin happening that happened in one of the other rounds. There are, I think, 15 drivers, but I think the latter two aren't being shown on the timings for some reason.
Okay. We'll wait until the results pop up and then see if we can see them then. But here again, there's 3 cars that are quite close together, and who is the third one of those? None other than the Flying Bumblebee, Gerrit Beekes. So he's caught up to them with... a little bit small. I can't see how much time has it got to go, Dennis? Just over 2 minutes?
It's 3 minutes 40 seconds.
3 minutes, so that'll be this lap and another. Because where they are now exiting Hoegenholz means that they're going to complete. Well, the race lead is quite a bit ahead of them. That's of course the thing that matters as to how many laps get completed. But Gerrit Beekes now has 1, 2, 3 cars in view ahead of him and not much time to do anything about it. So we'll see if he can get anything done, as the other guys also will be fighting each other, which will slow them down.
Nice.
There's a pass being made.
Good move there by Andre, nicely placed. Get the tighter line and then just got good drive on the exit as well, so perfect corner there.
And Timo Smith leaving a cars with +1 mirror, so only just enough. But here comes Gerrit, and he has the potential of making up 2 positions, so that will put him 7th, which is I think I forecast him, if anything, to progress that high up, and if anything above 7th would be excellent for him. But it's the points that you score that make the difference. You've got to finish both races and be at least in the top 10 to be in the championship, and we've seen that happen here in the championship as it progresses. And you can't afford to miss points on any given meeting, and you don't drop any race meeting, so you don't have that luxury, I don't think, Dennis.
No, there's no race dropped in the series.
Yeah, so you've got to race it to win it. Yeah, they at the Mickey Mouse section, as the drivers call it. They don't really like it. That's Hans Ernst, I think it is. Then this corner is no longer named, but it used to be Kumo, which is where you set up the car to get through Ari Leindijk. As they break away from them, this is the section that goes behind race control, off the track there a little bit. And there they go into Hoegenholz again, which is a lot more banked nowadays than what we see here. There's Matty, and Matty's in first position, so Matty's plugging along. He's still 0.7 of a second ahead of Sean Olivier, so holding on for dear life. And there's just 1.5 minutes to go. And where does Matty find himself? Is that Matty on a back marker? No, that's not Matty, because it doesn't have. There's Matty. So he's going to, he will more than likely finish this lap and then start the last lap. So that's the gap between him and Sean Olivier, who's in second.
And Sean's right there, but Sean is starting to threaten though.
Yeah, so depending who's used or abused the tires, towards the end, this last lap could be very interesting. There's another pass. Is that between...
That's Timo and Yandre at it again. They're still at it. And Jason is now
they
closing in.
So Jason comes in, he's got the same colours as Timo. So potentially he is in 5th position. But with the guys ahead of him with this last lap coming up, if they make a mistake, he could potentially get 3rd. So here's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, as you see them in view. So
brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great way to finish a race, and specifically for Jason, who had a terrible start. I think we commented him down in 12th position at some stage, and Andre Hildebrandt has a slowdown. Who's ahead of Andre that might benefit from that? Morne Deploy is only 0.2 of a second behind Andre, so that might change 6th and 7th. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6th and 7th. So that might change. We'll have to wait and see whether Andre and Morne are going to change positions. But here goes. So Andre Hildebrandt still has that slowdown. And Jason has passed Timo. He's into 4th. So now Jason has to pass Yandre. He's only 0.2 seconds behind him. And has he conserved his tires racing from where he was, or has he overcooked them? So as you see there, it's 3rd, 4th and 5th. It's very, very close. 1st and 2nd is close, but I'm not sure that it's close enough. We haven't put up the last lap, so I'm not sure that it should have gone up. But nonetheless, we'll see when the results...
I think it is the last lap. Let's see, where is Jason? I believe our driver of the day is Rian van der Westhuizen, by the way. I just thought I'd let everyone know that because I was a bit slow on putting that up.
Okay, so well done to Rian.
I believe this is the final lap.
Yeah, there's Matty. He's in about 5 or 6 car lengths ahead of Sean. So I don't think Sean can get a slipstream from him. I wouldn't say it's safe, because the smallest of mistakes you're going to make, where it used to be 1.5 seconds, it's now only 0.8 of a second. But the race is coming down towards its end now, and now you got to really, really concentrate. And Jason is still holding on to that 4th position, not getting past Yandre, but I don't think he will chance anything, because Timo Smit has a slowdown penalty. So that might be to the benefit of Andre Hildebrandt. We'll have to wait and see how that's going to pan out. Well done to Rian van der Westhuizen, driver of the day. He managed to get up to 9th position, did Rian. So well done.
Here comes Matty, to cross the line for the victory.
Yeah, and he...
Nice.
Oh, he spins it over the line. That's one way of doing it. But
Sean Willefear in 2nd, Yandre Dippenau 3rd, Jason 3rd. They're all coming across the line nicely now. That battle here with Andre and Monet and Gerrit right behind them. Gerrit will get 8th place in the end.
Monet got Andre right on the line. Monet deploy Andre, then Gerrit Beekes. So Gerrit must have run out of tires or talent or made a mistake.
And I'm not sure what happened to Rian, but he dropped down all the way down to 9th.
Dinesh Singh, Melt is also falling down to 11th place. So it looks as though there's Dinesh coming across the line now. So, no, that's not Dinesh. That's Johan Beekes. So then we have Stan, but did Stan not get a DNF? Was this...
No, he's still racing.
This is Stan coming.
And he's got Harvey House, I believe, right behind him.
No, that's Harvey that has gone off the leaderboard, but he's still actually racing.
And I believe Caroline will then take up 15th place.
There she comes out of Arie Luyendyk now.
Alright, so I'm sure the positions will come up. I'm not sure why it doesn't show the last 2 places, but they actually were there. But there it shows them.
Right there it does show them. Yeah, so let's do a...
And I'm going to jump to an ad break shortly before we go to the interviews. So our race winner was Matty Reenen from Sean Willefear and Yandre Dippenau. Jason Underwood 4th, Timo Smit 5th, Monet Deploy in 6th place, Andre Hildebrandt 7th, Gerrit Beekes 8th, Rian van der Westhuizen 9th, and Dinesh Singh took 10th place. We're going to head to an ad break. We'll be back shortly for the interviews. Stay tuned. right, welcome back everybody. We of course have got to the end of the Safe Boys MX5 Cup round 6 from the Zandvoort Grand Prix circuit in the Netherlands, when we are joined with our drivers who are not our top 3 drivers. Unfortunately, some drivers couldn't make it, but we do have our top driver Jason Underwood with us, and we have Timo Smit with us. Timo unfortunately didn't get 3rd, he got 4th, but he is available, so he is here. We actually had Jandre Dippenaar in 2nd and Sean Olivier in 3rd. They are not around for the interviews, so we'll just go ahead with Jason and Timo. So, Sean, do you perhaps want to do the interviews? Start with Jason.
Yeah, Jason, great qualifying, a great race one, valuable points in qualifying. We've seen already in past races that the qualifying can and often does make the difference. But you had a very difficult race too, and had to fight really hard for the points that you did get in 4th position. But first overall for the day, so I suppose it's the day's result that counts. But tell us about your race 2 specifically. Race 1, you just disappeared with enough that nobody could challenge you, and qualifying you were quick. So race 2, that was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, race 2 was interesting. Obviously, the reverse grid, you start mid-pack. Got a very good launch off the line. Got a few places on the start, and then I think I was just nudged from behind, and then I went off onto the gravel. And then once you're on the gravel and these things, it's like skateboarding on ice, basically. But then it came back on, and then I just had my work cut out for me. Quali laps for 13 laps, I think it was. Eventually got caught up to Timo and Jandre. And it was fun watching them battling for about 8 to 10 minutes of the race. That was quite fun to watch. But yeah, the thing is, when everybody's within 2 or 3 tenths of each other, it's so difficult to catch up to the front guys. They've either got to make a mistake, or you've just got to be on it all the time. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun coming through the field. And happy to get a 1st overall, extending the championship lead a little bit, I think. So, all positives.
Yeah, and we've dragged Timo in now. Now, Timo's teammate with Jason, and Timo missed out on being on the podium by 10 points. So it's that close is the racing. But also, you had a battle on of note with Jandre. Timo, that must have been one of the most busy races that you've had in a long time.
Absolutely, Sean. That was absolutely fantastic. I mean, either way, if the result went the other way, it doesn't matter to me. I think we had a fantastic time on track. And I mentioned to this earlier also in one of the interviews, Jandre is extremely fast. He was faster than me tonight. I'll give that to him. So well done on that. And regarding the close racing, it can be done. Just if you leave enough space, you can still have a decent race. And that's why we do this. Had a lot of fun. So thanks to him, and thanks to you guys for hosting.
There we go. Not much more else from me, Dennis. Actually, a question for Jason, which is not related to this race, but to the circuit. This version of the circuit doesn't have the banking which we've raced in other sims. How do you find, but I suppose you've raced different cars in those championships, but do you find the banking on the circuit makes quite a difference to the way that you approach the race?
Definitely, Sean. I think in the other versions that we've raced, the banking, you've got 2 or 3 different lines that you can take when it's the banking version. This version, if you go slightly offline, you just understeer out wide. So there's little to no room for error. It's pretty one-dimensional through there. With the banking version, you can, if you're following someone, you can use the high line to get a better drive out, or you can block on the inside and you can still, make it out quite safely. But with this one, it's just pretty much single file. But it also throws a different challenge to the drivers.
Yeah.
We don't always want to race one-dimensional things. We want to challenge ourselves in different areas. So I enjoy it. Just makes overtaking a little bit harder, but that's when the racecraft comes in and got to take your opportunities, make the pass before the corner.
Yeah. I think we saw one pass that was actually thought out 3 corners ahead. and was very well executed. And I can't remember who it was.
It was
But
Timo.
yeah,
I believe it was Timo.
Timo, yeah. Timo, you stuck with, I can't remember who you were with, but you stuck with him on the outside for 2 corners, and then eventually the 3rd corner you were placed on the inside of the corner and could make the pass. Did you actually think that pass out in your mind ahead, or did just the track come to you at the right time?
No, you need to plan these kind of things specifically on this track. I think because we did the first race in the shorter version, that helped a lot. So I knew that if you get a gap at a certain corner, you shouldn't really go for it. Rather play the longer game, and then eventually you'll get to a 3rd or 4th corner where it's safer to pass. I mean, that's a big thing, right? It's easy to dive bomb, if I want to use those words. Don't really want to use it, but you can do that. But obviously, there's a lot of risk involved. So much better to plan it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, rather go home with the points in the bag than a broken car on the trailer.
Exactly.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, yeah, thanks, guys. I'm going to leave it at that. So thank you and congratulations on your result. Timo, thanks for joining here. I know the one round you actually were on the podium and we got it wrong and you weren't brought into the interview, so hopefully this makes up for that.
Awesome. Now we're all square. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm going to drop you guys out into the channel below, and then we're just going to do our farewell. So congratulations, Timo and Jason.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Thank you.
guys.
All right, so that is our top 3 done and dusted, although it was only top 1st place and 4th place. But after this, we head to the Sepang North Circuit. I think it's a track that most of our drivers won't be too familiar with. Some of them might have driven the full Sepang circuit because that is available in certain sims. The Sepang North Circuit, although it's available, it doesn't get driven that often. And this is one of the sims that has all the layouts of Sepang, so that could be quite an interesting round watching the drivers learn new tracks. I think some drivers adapt a lot faster than others, so could be an interesting round.
Yeah, I've got no idea what it looks like, so I've got to go and find it on some other simulator on YouTube and go around the track myself to get the layout. And we'll be back next week, I think it is.
Yep.
Or Sepang.
Next week. No, next week is actually so we'll be back on the 2nd of June because next week we have our endurance race.
Yes. So it's Sepang in 2 weeks' time.
So that next week is our inaugural endurance race. So that'll be using R-Factor 2. So stay tuned to watch that. That will start, I believe that starts at 3 p.m. Sunday and then goes through until about 7 p.m. It's a 4-hour race. So that will be quite interesting. We have some high-class teams joining, international teams joining. So that should be very, very interesting. It has driver swaps as well. So teams of 2, and they have a mandatory driver swap. So that'll be quite interesting. And then the following week, we'll be back to MX5. So at the end of every month, the last Saturday for the next 6 months will be our endurance races. And all the races up until that will finish the MX5s. And after the MX5s, we will likely do a set of course, a Competizione series. We're not too sure which cars, but that'll be the next series to follow this. But until then, remember to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any safe requirements, to head over to thesafeboys.com. Give Johan a shout. They can sell you a safe, brand new or secondhand. They can repair your safe. They can discard of your safe. If you have any safe issues, give them a shout. And until next week's endurance race, or if you miss that until 2 weeks' time, the next MX5 race, catch you all then. And remember, like and subscribe and have a great week. And until then, catch you then.
Good night, everybody.